Bethlehem was wonderful, and the presents were very nice, but you know, it wasn't somehow real. It was like being inside a story that took the pain and the fear and the cold and the hopes and the blood and turned it into something exalted and high up and untouchable. I was caught between the very real and the unimaginable. No, for me, the real beginning was the wedding at Cana. I remember clearly how it all happened, but understanding it well, that came later. We were all invited to the wedding, all my children. Jesus had been in Bethany, and I know he had seen his cousin John. John was there preaching his heart out to the crowds, preaching fire on their heads one minute and quenching it in the Jordan the next. Something happened there between them. I was anxious when he left. I felt that something was changing. But he returned in time to go to Cana for the wedding. I remember looking at him, his face so dear and familiar. I thought I knew every mood, every expression, but somehow his face was withdrawn, remote from me. I worried about it as we traveled. I didn't ask him about it, in spite of reports to the contrary. I do not nag my children. But I worried. Well, we got to the wedding, and everyone joined in the fun. You know how it is at family celebrations. You eat, you talk, you drink a little wine. All right, you drink a lot. The food, it was fine, but the mother of that household was a good cook. But the wine, it was not so good. Now, don't misunderstand me. It wasn't so bad either. So we were there eating and talking and drinking wine, and I noticed that the pitchers of wine were empty. I wasn't snooping, you understand, but family is family, and God forbid everyone should be shamed by the wine running out in the middle of a wedding. I looked at the servants, needing just a hint that they should go fill up the pitchers. They fell all over themselves, telling me that there was no more wine. Well, I couldn't believe it. No wine? And what they had, not so good to begin with? Well, how could this have happened? My family would be disgraced, the young couple shamed before their friends. I looked around and saw my son Jesus standing nearby, talking with his brother and friends. I have no idea why I mentioned to him that we were running out of wine. They were kin, and I didn't want them to be embarrassed, I suppose, but really, it wasn't his business to fix it. He looked at me, I remember, and the look on his face, it was exactly the way he used to look at me before going out into town to do some small errand. I've seen that look 1,000 times. I know I am big and strong, and I know I must be about my tasks, but it is really all right, isn't it? You'll be here when I get back. Never saying any of it, you understand, but his face speaking it. He said something reminding me that it wasn't his business to interfere. Well, for years he had been the man of the house, you know, since Joseph died. I just turned to him as I always did. They have no wine, he said, just like that. They have no wine. Then he looked at the water jar standing nearby, and I'd seen that look before, when he had solved a problem or decided on just the right way to start a job. Then, well, he looked at me with eyes that were on fire, with something that wasn't grief or anger or joy or hope or anything else, but rather everything at once, and something more. He stepped back from me, and I could tell he wasn't seeing me or the empty jars or the wedding guests or anything else that I could see. His eyes, his whole being were fixed on something beyond my sight. He motioned toward the servants. Do whatever he tells you, I told him. He had them fill the jars, huge jars, with water. And I saw the water as it went splashing in. I felt my heart sink inside me. I don't know what I expected. I don't know that I expected anything. I knew my son had changed, that my little boy was gone forever, and something wonderful and terrible was going to happen, and I knew it had to happen. The noise of the talking and the dancing, it all faded into silence around me. I could not see anything but those jars of water. I think my heart stopped. The servants tipped the jars, and I saw a stream of deep red flowing out, pouring out, spilling out wine, new wine, like rivers of blood, sweet wine. I see it still. This wine was not conceived in the belly of a grape.